Today we're going to work with tables in Dreamweaver. I've already set my students up with this sample template. And it does help with tables later and get ready to design them if we are in the live view. But right now I want to insert a table. So I'm going to go to File, Import, Tabular Data. I'm going to browse for the file. And in this year's example, we're going to have to go up one folder, and it's going to be the top 10. All of these, if you notice, are CSV files. In this case, I can do commas. I have a cell padding of 2. I can click, and now the file has been added. Now remember, with this, we've got to go pretty slow. If we look at the directions, we want to format this to have a header row. So I'm going to switch over to my live view. The hardest part for y'all is going to be being patient because it's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to hover my mouse right here. So I'm going to select the entire arrow. And then I want to make that a header row. So I'm going to click under header right here. I'm going to click once. And I'm going to wait just a couple seconds. And then once it turns blue, I'm going to check it for a header row. Next, I want to make the background of this header row yellow. So I'm going to select the row again. And again, as you can see, it's glitching a little bit. So in my class, make sure you're saving this after every step. So right here, this is going to be our background color. So again, I'm going to click it once, wait a couple seconds, and then choose yellow. Anytime we have numbers, we typically always want to go in and center the numbers. I selected both of the I selected both of the right columns. And then I'm going to click here under horizontal spacing. I'm going to give it a minute, and then I'm going to choose center. So as you can see, these different properties show up each time I click in a cell. So these are different cell properties we have. But notice if I go over here and I select the entire table all at once, and let's look at the different property sections we have. Now when I select the entire table, that's where I can look at the number of columns and rows, the pixels, the alignment default, if I want the border to be a little bit thicker, and how we want the column widths. So again, that's a little bit different. So if we select the whole table, we get a few other options. And finally, we want to shade every other row. So I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to select every other row. I'm sorry, I've got to go back and redo that. When I pause on the video, it changes those. I'm going to go back to my background, and I'm going to choose the same yellow I had previously. In the perfect world, I would have written that one down. There we go. And then to change the tint a little bit, we can move this way up so that way we can tell this is quite a bit different than the regular one. And I can press Enter, and now that you can see those, every other one, I can go back to our live view and look at our artist. And on your own, go back and try to adjust this so that way we don't have that repeating there. We may need to abbreviate that some. Then we'll scroll down and work on our second table. Here's something we need to remember on our exam is inline styles. So if we add an inline style, that's going to override our main CSS. So what I did right here under this table for the second one is I just added a style equals quote color semicolon antique white semicolon quotes, and now we have this table here that is in all white, so we can do some more formatting. Save this, and we're going to go back and switch to the live view. Okay. So I'm in my split design mode, and now I'm going to go to Insert, Table, I did go ahead and change the colors on this one to blue just as we kind of work through this so it's easier to see. Then I'll go back and change them over here when we finish. So again, we want to practice making this a header row. So we can select our first header, or excuse me, our first row. So again, I selected my first row. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click my horizontal. Wait for a moment and make that a header row. Next, we're going to learn how to sort tables. So in my class, we're going to do this two different ways depending on if you're on an even or an odd computer. Even, we're going to sort by genre, which is column 2, then by rank, column 1. If you're an odd computer, we're going to sort by year, then by rank. So I'm going to select the entire table, and we're going to go to Edit, Table, Sort Table. And I have two options. For even, I'm first going to sort by column 2 in the genre, and that's going to be ascending from A to Z. And then I'm going to sort by column 1, which is the rank. So in this case, I want to sort it from the highest rank to the bottom. And I can click Apply. And there we can see. So I've got all the alternatives. And the top alternative is Imagine Dragons. Out of the country ones. And then we have hip hop. I did have to go back and fix one thing. I did have to put zeros in front of the single digits to make that sync a little bit better. So that's a quick way on how to sort. Down to the last table, we want to insert a row below this. So I can highlight this, right click, so that's something new. We can right click, and under table, we can do insert row. Aha, it inserted above it. So let's make sure we can insert that below. Just found something new out. So I'm going to place my mouse in the very last cell, and I can just press Tab, and then it's going to go straight to the new one. So we'll type this information in really quick. Okay, I'm going to hit Tab and add one more item. But this time I want to merge all of these cells together, kind of like a footer. I'm going to highlight all the cells, right click, Table, Merge Cells, and then I'm going to paste my link in here. Then I'm going to want to change the background color of this and actually have the link go to that page. I did have to tidy this up and put some zeros there. Now we want to make the first column into a header. So again, we're going to select this. We're going to go to our properties, and we can make this a header. So even though it's a column, we can still format this as a header. We're also going to go and add the rest of this top one as a header as well. For the last table, I went back and made the text navy. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select all of the cells except for that last one. And we're going to go in and I'm going to fill these with white. So I'm going to make my background color for all of these white, or shortcut FFFFFF. And then next we're going to work with borders, and then we'll be about through. Finally, we want to put a thick, chunky border on this one. So I'm going to hover outside. And when I bring my mouse in and click, you can see I have this very thick, oh wait, let me get back there. I've got this red border around it. And now right here, we can see our border options. Yeah, so it is a little bit tricky to kind of get this up here. But once we have that and we can see the main properties as a whole, we can maybe try 5 and see how that looks. If you're a superstar, maybe see if you can go in and even change the color of your border. At this point, expand this and look at the preview and see how it looks. There may be a few more edits we need. For example, this one is too small, so we're going to need to expand these, and you can do that on your own.